was saying if I bug out early, I don't think I need to. I think Karen maybe will pick her up, but if she can't,
There it is, Derek.
I'll be available by phone if I have to slip this. I don't think I need to.
There's the breakfast.
You doing okay?
Daughters are important.
Well, that's right, and I don't wanna sit there at Greensboro Airport waiting.
We don't need it.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Landers, how you doing, sir? Okay. That's all these cables I see in front of your place.
That's the same day
I was
that
gonna
Duke
pull in
Energy
there
tore
and decided it might damage my car.
Tired of people about running over us.
I think he's in
Pulling through there.
public here.
That's all right, that's all right. We was over there, well, that's making it more scenic. You know, people go up there to see it. We done had a little girl about getting run over the parking lot. We were out there doing the gravel stuff while we were out there heading on it. And we're scraping everything, people just running through and doing donuts and everything.
So,
You know, those are plastic chains, by the way, they wouldn't do much damage.
no, I've got to do,
Plastic poles. So, we thought about that, somebody
no, but I got to do
run into it. You know, it might make a little scratch.
registration renewal or license renewal.
But we had a fence years ago, and when they did some road work around there, they took it down, never put it back up.
You ask for a duplicate? You have to send any paperwork?
You're gonna get your old picture, of course.
Well, we're late.
My old?
Waiting on Mr. Rigby.
I do that. Do I have to go to D&B to do that?
To get it clear,
I say that?
but you don't, they're gonna use the one that's on your license.
Okay,
That's mine.
that's fine.
Well, I guess he won't be here.
5 years. Go online.
Need the budget.
You do it.
I might do it during this meeting if this thing starts dragging.
I'll get you.
My granddaughter's not happy with me.
See me on the DMV page.
Yeah,
Reckon not, I don't.
but that's the place to do it. You don't have any tickets or anything like
Huh?
that. Everything that would.
Hey, how's it going?
That's a good hang right there.
Well,
For Sheriff, Guilford County.
there's always something going on.
Good to meet you. I rode with an outlaw biker gang, is that what you're talking about?
Good evening, everyone. This is the May meeting of our Stokesdale Town Council. It is May the 8th, 2025. It is 7:03 according to the time I have, and I am calling our meeting to order. If you would, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Rigby's not going to be with us. All council is present except for Mr. Rigsby. Do we know if he's coming? Okay,
I don't believe he is. We definitely need to volunteer him to do something tonight.
okay, all right. All right, do we need a secretary? I know, that's a good thing to stick them with. Anyway, Mr. Jones is going to do our invocation for us this evening. If you would, please bow your head.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come together to represent the town of Stokesdale and the citizens. We thank you for the gift of our country, your word, the Constitution, our state, and our town. We ask that you lead and guide and direct us, that we conduct the people's business in a fair and reasonable manner, and that we are wise with the expenditure of their funds. We pray for those above us in government that are making decisions that might impact Stokesdale. And these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Review and adopt the agenda. I make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I'd like to propose a change, if
Yes,
I
sir.
may,
And that
Mr.
would
Mayor.
be?
Number 17, regarding a quote from Hunter Enterprises. Mr. Hunter's here this evening, and I would like to move that up our agenda so that he doesn't have to sit through all these other business items. If there's no objection, I'd like to make him
We could,
10B. How about 10B?
we can make him 10B if there's no objection.
None.
10B, Mr. Hunter.
Is that a good place to put him?
Okay,
Absolutely.
sounds good. Is there anything else? Any other changes? I have a motion and a second,
Well,
Mr. I'm sorry.
Since you asked, Mr. Mayor, I would
knew-
like to insert an item just to discuss a possibility of purchasing an outdoor storage, a small outdoor storage shed for the town of Stokesdale.
Shall we put it as 17A?
17B.
I'm sorry,
We don't have
17A.
17.
17A?
What about just 17?
I really don't care what we number it. We can put it towards the end.
No, a storage building is what you want. Okay, we can do that.
Small storage shed is what I'm interested in.
I might have a better idea. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, is there anything else? If there's nothing else, Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye. We have the review and adopt the minutes rather. I make a motion that we adopt the minutes for February the 13th, 2025, regular town council meeting.
Second.
Do I have a second? Okay, have a second. Have a motion, second. Discussion? Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am aye. I make a motion that we adopt the minutes for 3/13/2025, regular town council meeting. Do I have a second?
Yes, sir.
I have a second. Any discussion? Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye. Moving on to Stokesdale Fire District, do we have any fire department representatives? Mr. Wagner, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, so I did get an email from Mr. Galden this morning saying that he may not be able to attend tonight, so he has sent me his numbers for the month of April. For the Stokesdale Fire District, there were 43 medical calls, 15 fire calls, 27 other, for a total of 85 calls. And that is it for the Fire District report.
Robbie?
Thank you, Robbie. We have Planning Board. Mr. Wagner, do you have this?
I do, yes. Plan-
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I forgot. I've overlooked the County Sheriff's report, if you would, please.
I
Mr.
will, yeah.
Wagner.
So this is the report provided by Sergeant Ryan Seals of the District 1 Office of the Guilford County Sheriff's Department. For the month of April, the Sheriff's Office responded to 145 calls for service in Stokesdale, which resulted in 25 case reports. Of note, on April the 5th, deputies took a report of a burglary at Down 420 Lane at 8500 US Highway 158. An 18-year-old male was arrested shortly after the offense and charged with felony breaking and entering and larceny after breaking and entering. Juvenile petitions for the same charges were sought out for a 15-year-old. On both April the 18th and on April the 22nd, deputies took reports of multiple unlocked motor vehicle break-ins in the 6900 block of Rivergate Court, 7500 block of Kristen Drive, and 1500 block of Deer Run Court, and the 8600 court of Case Ridge Drive. One vehicle was reported stolen from the 7900 block of McCready Drive. All were in neighborhoods in both Stokesdale and Oak Ridge. On April 30th, our detectives arrested a 23-year-old man from Charlotte. In relation to most of the cases, he was charged with 10 counts of felony breaking and entering of a motor vehicle, 2 counts of felony larceny, 2 counts of misdemeanor larceny, felony financial card fraud, misdemeanor accessing a computer and commission of a fraud, and 7 counts of felony conspiracy. Some of the stolen property was recovered and returned to victims. The case remained open and under investigation. And the calls of type, just a reminder that these are the call upon initial dispatch. Call nature often changes after further investigation upon deputy arrival. There were 2 burglary of a vehicle, 1 burglary of a residence, 4 disturbance, 18 alarm, 1 burglary of a commercial area, 3 assault, 5 domestic, 2 warrant, 11 suspicious, 3 vandalism, 2 theft, 3 trespassing, 25 traffic, 2 drugs, 1 fraud, 1 fire, 1 sex crime, 2 motor vehicle theft, 7 accident, 1 rape, and 50 other. And that concludes the Sheriff's Office report.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Your town administrator's report, please, sir.
Yes, so I'll start with the water system. This is a report that Mrs. Hunsucker helps us with. This is For the month of April, there were 8 water meters installed, 30 water meters are in stock, 8 applications for transfer of service and water meters in, 19 water meters and applications on hold for builders, 11 work orders, 35 811s, 880 water bills were mailed out, and there were 23 reservations or rentals of the room or the shelters. I'll just note a few things here. I do have an update on the asset inventory and assessment project that Hazen and Sawyer is helping us with. They've completed the GIS mapping. They're working on a hydraulic model and capital improvement plan updates. They're continuing to work on that rate study. That should be completed soon. They're working on the inspections and plan review checklist. And Hydromax USA is working on locating and exercising those valves throughout the project. That kickoff meeting was held on Tuesday of this week, and they began working Wednesday morning. Hazen and Sawyer have started working on the automated meter infrastructure review, and there's a meeting that's going to be held here on Monday, May the 12th at 9 o'clock for, they have quite a few questions for Priscilla as far as water meters and water billing questions, and then I think they're going to share some information as well with her. And then for the pre-construction planning grant project, they have received CRU's quote for a pressure reducing valve, and they're awaiting Vortex quote for the SCADA controls and upgrades. So that's, of course, all of the equipment that would be added to the elevated tank and the meter vault. And for the Coldwater Road water line extension, they're very close to wrapping that up. The design is almost complete. The plans are almost complete. They need the final review. They're at 95%. And Hazen will be coming here to meet on Monday at 10 o'clock to give some more information on that.
Good.
Very good, Robbie. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
And that for clarification, since Mr. Tillman is here, the Coldwater Road extension, that 3-mile extension, is the project that we're using the Guilford County ARPA funds for that. So we'll probably bid that out for construction, sometime here soon.
This year for sure. Yep, very exciting.
Any further discussion?
That's, unless you guys have any questions, I'll just add that on May the 26th, we'll be closed for Memorial Day.
Okay.
Thank you, Robbie.
Planning board?
So the planning board report, this was put together by Mr. Winfrey. The planning board meeting is scheduled for April the 24th. I'm sorry, that meeting was canceled. The next meeting is scheduled for May the 22nd. At this time, there's no applications that have been submitted to Guilford County, but there has been, a developer has kind of reached out asking if something that didn't need to go to TRC could still make its way to planning board, and I told him it would just kind of depend, and we'd have to get the information, and if it required a public hearing, we would need notice. So at this time, no business for the planning board meeting, but potentially.
Very good. Thank you, sir. We have nothing from the property committee. Town Park Improvement, Mr. T. Stevenson, our chairman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a quick update. As you know, the majority of our larger projects have been completed now with the completion of the lighting for the soccer fields. I'm glad to report that. They seem to be working very well and they're getting use, or had been getting use until recently. At any rate, we continue to evaluate various options to enhance the safety and security of the park. We have, as you know, had some instances of vandalism and malicious mischief that we want to try to curb with some updated security. And that would include additional security cameras and maybe even some locking mechanisms on the gate so that we can close the park off during non-operating hours. We also continue to evaluate possible options for controlling the parking close to the proximity of the basketball and pickleball courts. We are concerned with the number of cars that are parking on the shoulders of the road there, and we're looking at options to try to control that. Can go from anywhere from controls to landscaping to, making use of that property for a more aesthetic reason, which would serve dual purpose. At the mayor's suggestion, I've looked into repairing or replacing the hinged door on the large bulletin board. That is an enclosed bulletin board down in front of the concession stand. We're looking at some options, getting some pricing to take care of that so that can, again, be functional. I've also obtained a quote to prepare some new signage panels for the sign out at the road here for Martins Park. And we've gotten the pricing on actually what the signage would be. Now all we have to do is decide what we want on the sign. So we'll be meeting in the next few days, hopefully, to discuss that. There are not currently any scheduled meetings for the committee, but we do plan to have a special called meeting before the end of this month so that we can review some of the information that we've gathered with expenditures and perhaps make a recommendation for moving forward with the improvements to the property and the control of the parking.
Great.
Great. We have a couple of agenda items that we'll cover in addition to that cover the park, but
Yep.
we'll address them a little bit later.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you, T.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, T. Ms. Thacker, I believe you have our financials.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We'll start with the general fund, as always. Okay, and I'll briefly go over our financials for us. All right. We have dwindled down our ARPA fund checking account down to $42,604.48. Our total CDARs in the general fund are $2,810,877. Fidelity checking, which is our operating account for the general fund, is $323,165.27. Petty cash is $150. Our expenses due, our accounts receivable, salaries is $562.78. Sales tax due to the general fund from North Carolina is $716.91. The water enterprise reimbursement shared overhead expense for the month of April is $12,888.51. Our total accounts receivable as of at the end of May is $14,168.20. Total accounts payable is $2,755.13. And,
Kim, may I ask a couple questions?
sure,
You mentioned the American Rescue Plan fund being down to $42,600. We've got several obligations against that money. Do you know what the net amount kind of available is after those obligations?
I do. Yep. Hold one moment, please. Sorry. I didn't have that one pulled up, of course. Do you have that access? Easy. Give me one. Oh, is it in the back of the sheet? Oh, my sheet. Thank you. Yes, $37,607.87.
37.6, okay.
Yes.
And then just a clarification statement. You mentioned that we had sales tax due to the town in the amount of $716.91. Just wanted to point that out for everyone here. That is not a sales tax revenue distribution. We do not get any sales tax revenue from the state of North Carolina. That is just a refund of
That's
sales
money that
tax
we
that we had
pay.
paid that has been accrued, and we'll get that.
That's correct.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me get back to my general fund. Let's see. Just our total assets in the general fund, total $3,192,049.30. The state retirement contribution from the town of Stokesdale for the month of April was $1,537.62. The total for the year, and this is at 13.60%, is $14,925.50. The water enterprise account, we have in our CDARS at the Bank of Oak Ridge is $1,605,897.63. The Capital Reserve Fund is $28,188.50. Fidelity Bank Checking, which is our operating account for the water enterprise account, is $204,964.90. The North Carolina Capital Management Trust Fund is $594,594.63. Our total investment earnings for this fiscal year for the water enterprise account is $56,490.83, of which $6,693.26 is for the month of April. Our accounts receivable for the end of April is $37,844.06. This also includes the April billing. We have 0 accounts past 90 days past due for active or inactive. Our sales tax due to us for the water enterprise account, which is the money that we spend, that we are given, that we fill out a form at the end of the year and we receive that money back, is $1,346.59. Our total assets in the water enterprise account is $2,472,836.31. Our total accounts payable is $45,237.90. The water capacity fees that were collected in the month of April is $8,250. The total year-to-date capacity fees collected is $33,000. I wanted to jump back to the general fund because I realized I skipped over our interest that we have earned, because I think that's a big part of our money that we make during each month. The interest earned for the month of April for the general fund is $8,934.34. The total year-to-date is $89,598.05.
Hit 6 figures by year end.
Huh?
So we'll hit 100,000 by year end.
Yes, that's correct. That's why I wanted to skip back over there.
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
totally skipped over that, I'm sorry. I just have just a few notes that I wanted to go over with you guys. Robbie and I submitted the grant reports for the quarter ending 3/31/25, and I submitted the annual federal ARPA report. Robbie and I also submitted the reimbursement request to the Guilford County ARPA and the North Carolina HB 1163. We did receive the reimbursements back from the North Carolina HB 1163 on 5/1 and from the Guilford County ARPA funds as well on May 5th. And those were good deposits, and they were deposited into the water enterprise account.
Great.
Yes, yes, it was. That was the HB 1163, yes.
So where is that money currently sitting right now? Like what account? The reimbursement?
It's in the water enterprise fund.
Yes.
Which account?
It's the, now, that did not go in the month of April, so it went in.
Okay.
It just,
So-
yes.
'cause I was
it
wondering why
just-
that checking account
Right,
was-
no,
okay.
I knew what you were looking at, no. That just went in the beginning of May. May 1st, actually, and May 5th,
Perfect. Thanks,
Yep.
Kim.
okay. Any questions on the financials?
Is that it?
Great report. Thank you.
Excellent, very good.
Thank you.
We have time for public comments. I would ask everyone, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have a candidate for Sheriff of Guilford County, Mr. Billy Queen, with us this evening. Billy, if you would, please, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for allowing me this 3 minutes to talk to you. I already know most of the people here. So I am running again, and for those that don't know, I grew up in Guilford County. Graduated from Grimsley High School. 1968, I joined the United States Army, volunteered to go to Vietnam, and I fought in Vietnam for this country. When I returned home, I enrolled in Guilford College, got a job with the High Point Police Department, became the youngest sergeant they ever had over there. I enrolled after receiving my undergraduate degree, enrolled at North Carolina A&T State University in the master's program, criminal justice program over there. Became first white police officer they ever had. I left there, became a United States Border Patrol agent. Learned how to speak Spanish. They sent me out to the border in California, where I worked when the Border Patrol was really the Border Patrol. I went from there to the United States Justice Department's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, became a special agent there. Spent most of my time out in California. And if you could imagine a little boy from Greensboro, North Carolina, working in L.A. Well, I became an undercover agent for the Bureau of ATF, and a lot of people may have already seen some of the stuff that I had done as an undercover agent, but I also worked in Bureau headquarters in Washington, D.C. as an administrator for ATF. I went back to California after that, became the commander of ATFSR Team 5 out there and was responsible for all high-risk operations in the western part of the United States. Toward the end, the last thing that I did, and unfortunately, I left my book over here, I rode more than 2 years with an outlaw biker gang out of California called the Mongols. I sent 54 of them to prison for murder, to running dope and guns and everything else that outlaws do. I'm a New York Times best-selling author. Si habla español. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, thank you very much for the 3 minutes. I hope I didn't run over. God bless you.
You did good, brother. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Appreciate your service with all that, sir.
All right. We have presentation and discussion of proposed Town of Stokesdale 2025-2026 fiscal year operating budget. Please be advised that this matter is presented for discussion purposes only, and no formal action will be taken by the Stokesdale Town Council at this time. Mr. Foy, I believe, has the floor.
I would go ahead and turn it over to Finance Officer and Budget Officer, Ms. Kim Thacker.
Okay.
Me again. I am happy to say that I am presenting the final proposal for our fiscal year 25-26. And I would like to ask council, do you want me to go by each line item, or would you rather me go by the summary? How would you
I
rather?
don't think it's necessary. I think the summary will be more than sufficient, is
Okay.
my opinion.
I favor summary as well.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so if you will look in your packet at the general fund category summary, on our revenue, our local operating revenue, I am budgeting for $352,420. Our local non-operating revenue is $100,000. The non-operating revenue, which is our grants and intergovernmental transfers, is $42,604.48. Our total revenue is $495,024.48. Our expenses for cultural and recreational is $15,441.32. Economic and physical development, $26,000. General administrative, $178,972.51. Legal and professional, $47,000. Payroll expenses, $331,471.30. Public safety is $31,635. Non-recurring expenses is $42,604.48. And our contingency appropriations is $5,483.09. Total expenses are $678,607.70. And under there, you will see our reimbursement from the Water Enterprise Fund for shared overhead expense is $183,583.22. We are reimbursed that amount from the Water Enterprise account. Therefore, that gives us a balanced budget at the end of the year.
Very good.
Okay, and if we'll move over to the water, which is, I don't know what page that is. Okay, so our Water Enterprise Fund category summary, the 25-26 fiscal year budget. For our revenue, our local operating revenue, which is the town of Stokesdale water customers, is $762,000. Our local non-operating revenue is $55,000. Non-operating revenue, which is our grant and intergovernmental transfers, is $4,262,120.76, which makes our total revenue $5,079,120.76. Our total expense, our expenses for the direct operational expenses is $598,416.78. Our capital projects is $4,297,120.76. The reimbursement to the general fund for shared overhead expenses is $183,583.22. So our total expenses is $5,079,120.76, which gives us a balanced budget for the water enterprise account.
Good deal.
Excellent.
Yeah, very good, Kim, and I appreciate all your work and efforts put into this. You know, we had a couple budget workshops, open, public special call meetings. I think we had some good discussion about the budget. And, you know, assuming no material changes are made between now and next month, I look forward to voting for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Briefly, Mr. Mayor, I want to just briefly point out, so the budget will be available for public inspection starting tomorrow, I assume, the proposed budget. And then my understanding is your intention is to have a public hearing on this budget at the June meeting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
June the 12th. At the June 12th meeting, council meeting, we will have a public meeting for the budget proposal.
That's correct.
And notice will go out soon. You have to do it within 25 days. We're just a little bit outside that, so 24 days before a notice will go out, letting folks know that.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you
excellent.
very much.
Okay.
We're very fortunate this evening to have with us our commissioner, Mr. Pat Tillman. He's going to discuss with us, hopefully, the 25-26 Guilford County budget with Guilford County. Mr. Tillman, if you would, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thanks for having me. It's good to be in Stokesdale. And, you know, I don't have any formal presentation. I did talk with Councilman Jones about sort of the expectations and Mayor Pro Tem Foy. What I'll do is just give you some highlights and a little bit of the process for those that are viewing or those that are here for the public. So our manager presents a budget on May 15th, next Thursday at our regular meeting for business. Now, all this time since really late January, there have been work sessions open to the public. We've had a series of town halls. You may recall last year, I think some of you attended last year. We've done that. We've completed that. That started at the end of March, and we wrapped up with our last one on April 28th, where we literally invite the public out, and we have that discourse. We hear from them. We do a very, very brief presentation of what goes into the budget, how the pie is divided. And so we've done that. And those are really great experiences because, well, two things. One, we also, at these budget town halls, we have many of our departments that serve the public that are there, directors of these departments, EMS, environmental inspections, sheriff's department, you name it. They're all there, and it's kind of like a sort of a resource fair, if you will. So the public is really, we've gotten a real positive response. I don't think that was historically done. So the last at least 3 years, we've done that. So then the public, we hear from them. They get to ask questions, criticisms, all of that. So all that said to say, we take all of that into consideration, and then the manager will present the budget May 15th. Then we will have more public opportunity for the public to attend our meetings and to provide more feedback. There'll be a lot of push and pull through that period, the sausage making kind of up to the finish line, which is we have to pass our budget by the end of June. So we'll do that usually mid-June, but we have until the end of June to pass our budget. And this budget represents serving, I think the number is roughly 562,000 residents of Guilford County. And so that's everything that goes into that, the state statutory mandated services. A couple items of note that I think the public would be interested in hearing about is how we have put away $50 million specifically to pay for bond debt. We call it the honor school capital. And so two things that are good about that. A is I think it was wise to do that, to set aside the money, particularly in the event that if a quarter-cent sales tax ends up on the ballot again and it fails, we have that money put away for the express purpose of paying down the debt so that we keep our finances in order. And the other benefit, and I was interested in Ms. Thacker in terms of the interest that you generate, that's quite a bit of interest. And what we've done, so that you know, last Thursday, we voted an action item to make the fire departments whole. There was a $2.4 million shortfall, and it was a mistake that was made by the county. We were made aware of it in January at a work session. Our tax director, Mr. Ben Chavis, let us know. So we had to figure out where we were going to find that money. And I think, I speak for myself, but I think there's consensus of the board that we really don't want to use our general fund. We are really trying to stay out of dipping into that. And I noticed you were talking about your general fund as well. And so I think there seems to be some consistency on not doing that. So we actually used earnings from the interest to make the, to create, bridge that shortfall, which was the right thing to do, and we did that, and that was at our last meeting. I think, so that I did want to talk a little bit about the general fund. Right now, we have about, and there's different pots, right, for the general fund. There's restricted and available and obligated. So, but if you take all that away, we have about $248 million set aside for an emergency. You know, so people need to feel good about that. And so obviously the LGC has some mandates that they want you to keep your general fund at a certain percentage of your budget. And so we've done that. And that's why, you know, we, so far we have gotten AAA rating from the bond agency, which is a really good thing. It keeps our ability to borrow money at a much lower interest. So you should feel good about that. The budget right now, it's right around 868 million, which is, if you look at historically, if you look at the last 8 to 10 years, you know, it's certainly gone up, it's increased. But I think it represents about a 7% increase from last year. I think somewhere around there. And I can get you all these figures and share with you the details of the budget and what goes into it. Yeah, typically, right, our budget is the schools, that's about 47% of our budget is for schools. That's, you know, all the capital, the operating that we give them. This year is very much a belt-tightening year, as you might imagine. And so this is where I'm getting into the push and pull. And we've done the right thing. We've increased sheriff's pay and detention officer pay. We've increased pay where we could for our public safety folks, which is very important to me and others. And so now, you know, we're at that point where when the manager presents his budget, you know, we're really going to have to go in and start doing the hard work, which is where we have to cut, we have to cut. For example, if there's been a position vacant for over a year, let's not fill it, because that allows us some wiggle room. So that's kind of a little bit of a balcony view of our budget. I did want to also make everybody aware there is no appetite for a tax increase this year. And that's straight from the chairman's mouth. So, you know, just so people know, I mean, you hear a lot of things out there. What I will sort of lead into is the property reevaluation that is on a lot of people's minds that's coming up in 2026. It's not this year. A lot of people think it's coming this year. It's in 2026. These property revals are mandated by the state, but if you don't meet a certain percentage of the appraisals, then they can force you to do it in 5 years and not wait the 6 years. And different counties have different, you know, some are 8, some 6. So we are mandated by the state to do another reevaluation. Personally, I want to hold the taxpayers harmless. What does that mean? When you do a property reevaluation, and assuming the values go up, which that's where the trends are in real estate right now, if you look around, and that's a good thing. That part is a good thing. Where the county commissioners, where we come in, is if there's revenue neutral and rate neutral. If it's rate neutral, that basically means by default, taxes, your property taxes will go up again, as your property value goes up. We already had one right before I got on the board, and some people saw 10, 15%, some upwards of 30%. To me, I have problems with that if we go rate neutral. I want us to go revenue neutral, which would, in effect, hold the taxpayers harmless. Especially, I've got in my district, I've got seniors that are calling me, they're on fixed incomes, they already had this big hit 3 years ago. Now they're staring down another potential hit for the property tax because it'll go up if it's not revenue neutral. So we can use your help in that effort. Again, I'm speaking for me. I don't know, there's other commissioners that have been on record to say they want to keep it rate neutral, which again is by default, de facto, your property taxes will go up. So I just wanted to hit that highlight. I think I get a lot of calls that people were thinking it's this year, but it's in '26, but we need to be planning and thinking about that. There was a Carolina core study that was done, and I'll just hit this and then I'll stop and take a pulse here. And it was done by an outside agency called the Bowen Institute, and they go around the country and they study, all of the data in your county, median income, how many property owners, how many people are renting homes, and what professions are they in. And it talks about those folks that can afford to rent a home or an apartment and what type of job they have. And these are teachers, nurses, firefighters, young entry-level professionals that have good jobs in manufacturing as well. And it was alarming to me that we have a lot of people that are just right above the water line. And if this reval happens and we don't go with revenue neutrality, it could be calamitous because we have people, landlords and property owners that own and rent these homes, and they're not going to absorb that. So it's going to be pushed down to the citizens. And that's not to mention, as I mentioned, the seniors that are already, their income's not going up. So a lot of things to come on that. But the Carolina core study was very revealing. And there's a lot of good things happening. And it's the Carolina core, and maybe I'll email you, Mr. Mayor, and for the board, the study itself. I took a deep dive into it. It's a 53 county area, and it basically is most of the Piedmont. It looks like a reverse J. So there's 53 counties in there. Guilford is one. It's not Wake or Meck. It's typically your medium-sized to smaller counties. And they're looking at the growth, the economic development, the impact, all those things. And so it's a great study. So I'll make sure I get that to you. That's all I have for now, and I'll just open it up for questions.
Well, Mr. Tillman, I always love it when you can come out. Maybe our citizens would love to have you come out when our taxes are due. I don't know, but there's one thing
I'll
about
be
it.
busy that day or
Yeah,
month.
that's what I thought. But it is a luxury for us that we don't have to deal with budgeting for sheriff's department, the schools, social services. There are a whole host of things that your board has to do that we're blessed that we don't have to deal with. And sometimes it's easy to quickly criticize the county and all the money that we're sending into them. And I don't know what the right amount is, but I will say that I have learned to recognize that the county's got a lot of stuff they got to do with this money. If this board were to ask you to request funds for any town of Stokesdale projects for this year, what would the deadline for that request need to be?
Yeah, I would say before next Thursday, because the manager's going to present his budget. That's best case if we could pull that off, and certainly by the end of May, because we still have that time, and there's going to be still a lot more discussion about the budget once Manager Halford presents it. So, the sooner the better. Yeah.
I'd like to have a look at the Carolina core study, if you could at least send it to our town staff.
Absolutely.
We can get at it. By law, the Guilford County Tax Director or Finance Officer is required to prepare a net revenue neutral budget. You confuse me with the two terms that you're using. Are they required to prepare two budgets that don't show any increase to the citizens for review?
Yeah,
you
well,
back
so
up to
our
that?
budget has to be balanced, so that is the law. When we have the property reval, that's where the county can decide to keep it revenue neutral or rate neutral. And so rate neutral, all that means is, you know, the property tax, if, depending on how much your property value goes up, you know, that's where the increase can come from.
Okay, I'll try to study that and be sure I understand that.
Neither one of them would affect the net zero budget. I mean, the net zero total. I think that was your question. Did I miss it?
Well, I think, I see this as a good thing, even if the county commissioner is totally ignored, at least the citizens kind of know where we would need to be to keep it at a, you know, net zero, so they.
Revenue neutral.
Revenue
we need to be.
neutral, yeah, pardon me, I'm getting mixed up with my terminology here, but I know that I am apprehensive about this. The evaluation will be done in '26, so the tax bill would go out in '27 if there's an increase.
Yeah, yes.
We've all read stories of a possible 30% increase, give or take, in our taxes, you know, et cetera, and I don't know what the right amount will be, but, you know, I know scores of citizens, you know, while everything else may have doubled, their pay hadn't doubled to catch up. And you know, especially those out here that are on fixed income. You know, Northwest Guilford County, we get branded as being wealthy somehow. And I've been here all my life, and I don't, when I look around my neighbors and what have you, we don't see it that way. Kind of, we're being painted with too wide of a brush. So there are poor people in Stokesdale. Newsflash. So we have between Summerfield, Oak Ridge, and Stokesdale, I think we have the higher percentage that would be on what you consider lower income, you know, down near the poverty level, you know, all those sorts of things. So these are our citizens, our constituents. So in many cases, they don't have anything, but maybe they have a lot of land and an extra parcel of land that they've been paying taxes on since time beginning, but they don't capitalize on it, so they're kind of, might be land rich, but that still doesn't make them, you know, it doesn't help them any in these situations. So I appreciate what you do as a conservative Republican on a majority Democratic board. I mean, my hat's off to you. I know there's different philosophies that come into play, but you, my friend, are just outnumbered.
Have you had any discussions or had any reception from any of your colleagues about potentially going revenue neutral?
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
the temperature that I've taken from the room is, because one thing about revenue neutral is, you know, the county loses those dollars, right? So, you know, in some ways, right, because if we hold it revenue neutral, then that revenue's not coming in, right? Like it would if you did rate neutral. So
Yeah.
So there are those that make that argument. So
But year over year, you're not really losing.
Right, neutral means absolutely nothing.
That's right.
To my pocketbook.
So a concern about rate neutral, if y'all were to do rate neutral, because for some reason that the amount of property tax each municipality in this county charges is directly linked to sales tax revenue that each municipality gets back. If the county were to go rate neutral, I would think that would be a significant change to the distributions to any other municipality. It'd be just something to consider, the impact it could have to other municipalities.
Right.
I don't know if y'all look at other
Yeah, I
municipalities.
mean, it hasn't really, because it's a little further down the road. We
Yeah.
haven't really had those.
That's getting down to the granular.
Right, big
yeah.
discussions with our tax director, but I just know, me personally, I don't think that's maybe the popular sentiment, but I
Yeah.
just really, I really believe we need to, on this
Yeah.
go-around, this new reval, is to go revenue neutral. Now, and others would make the argument, well, yeah, but your house is worth more when you sell it, but we all know that the, real estate
Yeah.
market can crash. I mean, a million things can happen. So that number that is on Zillow or whatever the appraised value is,
Yeah.
it's subject to change. And so, yeah, and if you're young and you're mobile and you're gonna go sell your house, well, good for you. But a lot of people aren't leaving their home. When I talk about the seniors and people on fixed incomes, that's where they're gonna stay. They're gonna age in place. So there's a lot of swaps and
Well, there
sausage
are.
to be made on
I mean,
that.
there could be further unintended consequences of a rate neutral, other than just sheer property tax, going up and cash out of our pockets. But, kind of like that other thing I was mentioning, so.
Rate neutral means absolutely nothing. It's what comes out of your pocket.
Yeah.
There's people in this town that and I know one had 100% up, a couple properties 50% up, and retired people. They want to live here the rest of their lives, been here all their lives. They don't care that their property's worth a bunch of money. They're not wanting to sell it. That's why we're building houses everywhere. All the people inheriting property, they don't want to pay all these property taxes. So they're going to build houses everywhere, which I guess is good for the government because then they get more money. And then the people complain about building houses. So, I mean, rate neutral means absolutely nothing. It's what comes out of your pocket.
Exactly.
And y'all
And
are
that's-
hitting us pretty doggone hard.
Yep. And that's why I'm really gonna try to appeal to my fellow commissioners to really put thought into this and think about all the unintended consequences and the real impacts that we know because we just came out of one and people are already feeling the sting. And so I couldn't in good conscience do anything but the revenue neutral.
Well, I commend you not only for coming out and strongly saying it, but coming out a year early and really talking about the impacts it could have on people. So I mean, we're a year away from this, but it's good that these discussions are happening, now.
Yeah, I'm just really right now. I want sort of the best to my ability to make people aware of what's coming, and again all these potential impacts on both sides. I mean, you'll have others that'll argue for rate neutral, whatever, but it's coming, and there are a lot of. When I look at that Carolina core study and I see these folks I mentioned, school teachers, nurses, firefighters, police, law enforcement, you take any job, good jobs, and they're right on that line. And I've even had property owners that have several rental houses, and they're like, Patrick, people that used to pay on time, never missed a payment, now they're calling me. Hey, I need a little extra time. I need 15, I need 30 days. Well, because of the economy, right? We talked about the wages have not matched all these other expenses. So what's going to happen when this happens, if it goes the way it might go? I see these people falling into the red. And I asked the gentleman that did the study, and he kind of didn't want to get political, but I was like, well, you have to argue if there's let's just say property taxes go up and people have a 20%, these landlords, they're going to pass that down. I mean, those people are going to not be able to stay in their rental house. It's not just property owners, people that have houses, it's everybody. So,
Well, renters can go somewhere else, move another place, move to the other area, things like that. A lot of them transit, some of them maybe not, but a lot of them are. Your property owners, ones that want to stay, are just getting killed.
yeah.
And it looks to me like the government, our state and our county, that's what they're concerned about is rental properties, people owning rental properties and what about the guy that's got it used to be $100,000 house, now I guess it's a $250,000 or $300,000 house, whatever y'all decide. And he's, fixed income not coming up, and you keep hammering them on taxes. They don't want to sell their house. They'd like to stay in the area. It's a great place to live, Guilford County, especially where we're at. But, what are you going to do? Push them out and then build some rental properties? I mean, that's all I hear now. Build apartments everywhere, build rentals. And I'm not knocking on you. I know that you come from the right place, and I appreciate you being here, so it irritates me. I'm not irritated at you, but the whole concept just irritates me. I've been here all my life, and that's what it seemed like it were. Turning everything into a dang rental. You're not doing people any favors. Home ownership is where the American dream's at. It's not in the rental business. I mean, it's a rental business as far as a business, but as far as an individual, he needs to get some dirt under his feet that he can keep, and have him a home, and maybe rents it out somewhere and go somewhere else. But it's always nice to have a home to come to. When I go down 68 and I see our place, I mean, it's a good feeling. And I'm not knocking people to rent or nothing, by no means, but I could ramble on forever, so thank you for being here.
Yeah, and it affects everybody. So like like when I'm with you, the property owners, the people on fixed incomes, but it affects everybody because now you've got people that may be forced out of where they've lived all their life. Yep. And the point I'm making is think about the just calamitous effect of all that happening like a perfect storm, and it's I mean, I don't want to be a doomsdayer. I mean, I'm optimistic, but I just want people to know, eyes wide open, going into this thing, this reval, what the potential harms are, and it's real.
How's the best way for our citizens to have their voice heard on this if they're concerned about an increase? Contacting you, contacting the entire board?
Yeah,
smoke signals?
Yeah, I mean, all that. I mean, I would definitely email the commissioners, the board, and just, put it on, let them know and voice your concern. I would urge people to come to our meetings, and you can speak from the floor. We open up similar to you at the very beginning of our meeting. Right after the pledge, we allow people to speak 3 minutes, and we don't require them to register like way ahead of time like some others do. We just come in, and we even will recognize if someone wants to speak and they don't have a number. If they didn't get there early enough, we'll allow them to come up and speak. But yeah, speak from the floor, emails, all that, yeah.
That's good, Pat. We can't thank you enough for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I love being here, and thank you for what you do. I mean, it's such an honor and privilege to represent District 3. I mean, I joke with my colleagues, I'm always saying it's the best district because it's got everything. If you like quiet spaces and you don't want to be bothered, there's something for you in District 3. If you like the outdoors, I mean, we've got miles of trails and parks that people can enjoy. If you like nightlife and entertainment or sports, we've got that too. So, yeah, it's a real pleasure, and appreciate y'all having me. And
Yeah.
I'll get up here. And I always say, and this is no slight to anybody else, the Stokesdale Parade, best parade in the county. So,
Very much.
Thank you for coming. You're welcome anytime.
yep. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Consideration to request funding for town of Stokesdale projects from Guilford County. I believe Mr. Jones has this.
Well, I did indeed add that agenda. Last year we had some discussions about this and didn't initiate any requests to the Guilford County County Commissioners through our representative, Pat Tillman. And this year, we have a bill in the House of Representatives that may or may not result in the return of 25% of our sales tax distribution monies. And so my mindset is to ask for money in the event we don't get these House Bill 305 passed. We have a number of projects. The mayor and I in particular have been scratching the surface on a few things that are mostly on this list. And I would just like to know what the board thinks about requesting funding by next Thursday, with the provision that we will drop our request if House Bill 305 actually passes and becomes law such that we can receive 25% of our sales tax distribution money. And that will mean roughly based on numbers we have from the state, $400,000 a year to the town of Stokesdale each year. So I'd like to know what y'all think here, you know, we have this facility and we really don't have much choice other than to keep it up, the town hall, town park, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Discussion?
I mean, I'm a little hesitant on the matter. I think timing is everything in life, and I'm not sure if it, at this point in time, is the right time. I would favor, just given really what I infer from Mr. Tillman is what's going to be a tight year for the county right before next year, which I think it's reasonable that we'll probably see some kind of tax increase due to the property evaluation appraisal. And I appreciate Mr. Tillman sharing this, that he's definitely revenue neutral on that, but I'm trying to be what I think is realistic, that we'll see some kind of revenue increase from the county due to the evaluation. I just kind of would lean on maybe at that point in time would be a better option. Again, I think this is, about timing. So I would offer, philosophically, I have no issue at all. I think from time to time, I think, and history has indicated that the county will be supportive from time to time. I just, this year, I'm just a little bit hesitant, and I would be in favor of postponing that. Those are my thoughts.
I would like to know what the other two y'all think.
Mr. Landrith?
Well, I'd love to see some money come from the county since we don't get our sales tax revenue. We are coming to the game a little bit late, I guess, but how much we talking about asking for?
It's going to depend on some of the other agenda items that we're covering here. Let me give you an example. Our parking lots, they are in spots, they are in dire need of some attention. And it's going to be, I think, easier and we'll have more economy of scale if we do it all rather than try to do some kind of patchwork. The lowest bid, and that's all, the lowest estimate, I shouldn't say it's a bid, the lowest estimate was $50,000. The highest estimate was $84,000. And that's to basically seal and or resurface where necessary and repair the areas that are in desperate need of some attention. We have a spot right out here that comes out of this parking lot that it's probably the garbage truck that may be doing it. I think that's what we've concluded because it's the only thing that's probably heavy enough to do it. But it comes right out there and it makes a turn, and that pavement is it's destroyed. If we got a good freeze this winter, that stuff's coming up. There's not much way to stop it. Our pathway, our walkway, our paved walkway, there are several spots there that need a little bit of attention compared to what they're gonna need if we let it ride. I'm inclined to think that the county should be able to help us one way or another. I have great sympathy for the challenges that the county's having because we're having the same kind of challenges. But we don't ask for a lot. And in this case, our jewel is right here behind us. That's that park. And to Mr. Jones's point, if we don't maintain this thing, every bit that we've spent is just going to go to waste. Everything needs some attention. So I'm inclined to ask for some money. I've got a figure in mind, but I'd like to have a chance to finalize some other things. To be honest with you, I'm inclined to ask for the sky and maybe settle for whatever I got to settle for, but that's my opinion.
If I could also offer that we do have some ARPA money left over, that we will need to spend that has not been obligated. And we also, we'll end this year with a budget surplus like we have the previous 3 years. So, that is a consideration. I'm not at all opposed to doing that project, and I actually thank and commend you and Tim for taking the bull by the horns on that one and putting that together. So, me speaking that I don't think this year is the right timing for this request. I have my reasons, but I'm also in support of continuing with these projects, and I can get into the financial reasons more in depth if you so dive. But I kind of hit that on a high level of where I am on that.
Can we look at the projects? I mean, I feel like we should have looked at the projects and see what our totals are. Well, I mean,
Two of them.
you've got them on the, I mean,
Two of them
I
we-
wondered why they were on the agenda, and this was on the top of it.
Two of them we have.
I can answer that this agenda item is right behind Mr. Tillman's presentation because he's still here, and I didn't want him to have to sit here all the way to the end of the meeting.
Okay, so what's the total?
And so that's just simply the reason why it's ordered the way it is. I kind of, in retrospect, I realize that's creating a little bit of a problem here. Mr. Winfrey, could I make a motion to table this item till the end of this meeting and us come back to it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we could still, okay, well then that's my motion I would make to the board to
Yeah, I mean,
table this item to the end of this meeting to the, which would be 17, behind, after the storage shed.
17B.
Yeah, just before the 18, the public comments. That would be my motion.
What, well,
And we can talk about all these other items, and then maybe, y'all would feel better about discussing
we can
numbers.
still discuss this a little bit more. We've got Mr. Tillman here.
yeah, I mean,
What are the negatives, Derek, of, are you at liberty to?
say what now?
What are the negatives for us asking for this?
Oh, I just don't think the timing is right. It's just my opinion. I think we're, pursuing other revenue streams that I think that are due to us, and I think, quite frankly, I think we have an all right chance at that. And I acknowledge that you mentioned those, and I just think going into a year making this request in a year where taxes are being significantly raised seems more like a pragmatic approach as far as timing is concerned, when at the same time, we had Mr. Tillman allude to what's going to become, some back and forth between departments of Guilford County, initiatives they need to fund. And then he also mentioned that they needed to come out of pocket, almost $3 million for, to correct an error. So they had to come out of that. So I just don't feel that this is the right time. If I did, I'd be all in, because I'm telling you, philosophically, I have no issue of asking the county for money for certain projects, but I just.
Just to restate, in case anybody missed it, I did, what I would do would be making a motion for a request of, any motion that I would make to request money from Guilford County would have a provision that request would dissolve in the event House Bill 305 passes and we can get some restoration of our sales tax distribution money back to the town of Stokesdale. And so that's I don't have a crystal ball either. I don't. If we don't ask for it this year, then that puts us asking for it next year, when there is going to be even more pressure on the county's budget. And some of these things we can tighten our belt and do more patching than repairing. We have the ability to defer some of this a little bit, just depending on what the pleasure of the board and what y'all think. But again, we can table this. My motion is to table this till the end of this meeting and come back to it before agenda item 18, and maybe we'll know more then. That's my motion.
Mr. Tillman, is that a practical request, we would request funds in lieu of receiving this sales tax money? No, I'm sorry.
I can promise
Should,
you no one.
no, I'm sorry, I phrased that wrong. Should the sales tax money come through, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mr. Jones said that we would withdraw the request for county funds. Am I correct there?
Yeah, Mr. Tillman, you understand what I'm saying here.
I'm sorry.
That we would
Forgive
make our request contingent upon.
Sure.
If 305 passes, that it would void our request.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you all decide, yeah, I mean, you could make it contingent upon House Bill 305, which I think is going to be reread.
Yeah, we're certainly not out to pull more out of the well than is reasonable.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, we're out here in the corner of the county and maybe the powers that be downtown forget that our citizens are part of Guilford County too. We try to look after ourselves as best we can and not be a bother, to Guilford County. And we feel like we've been very reasonable in requesting just 25% through the legislature versus 100%. And that, to me, is our gift to the board, not asking for that to allow you to, use that money for other needs that the budget may need for Guilford County. So
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the board, how they're going to view this. I mean, kind of to Mayor Pro Tem Foy's point about optics and timing and things, given what's happened at the General Assembly. But I mean, I certainly don't think it precludes you or prohibits you from putting together your numbers for some capital, expenditures that you need done.
And for the record, the Stokesdale Town Council has made numerous and repeated requests to the Guilford County Commissioners over the years to change the tax distribution method back to per capita, and that just hasn't gotten us any traction.
Yeah.
So, I would like to make that point and get it in our minutes.
Yep.
Well, the method that's being implemented out here is just not right to start with. We run a fiscally responsible town, and these people pay in sales tax, and part of it's supposed to be for municipal government. We are a municipal government. We offer services, and we don't. And we don't get any of that money. We've had commissioners say that we should tax our citizens. Well, we're doing a pretty dang good job without taxing our citizens. We could use some more, and we're not asking for really anything that they haven't paid in and is coming back, but just not coming out here. All these folks who think they're being shorted, I mean, they're living off of our citizens' sales tax money, and we're just asking for a little bit of it back. So, I wish the whole thing would change, and then everywhere in the state would, the citizens that's paying the taxes in would get the taxes back, for the municipal government. So I know the county has to have it too, whatever percent it may be, but this thing of having to tax our citizens in order to get some of their tax money back, I mean, I'm not a politician, but I just shake my head. I mean, it's kind of upsetting. I don't believe people understand that. They just don't know. I wish there was some way we could.
It is a challenge for the four of us to conduct the business of the town of Stokesdale to keep up with this, understand ad valorem, understand per capita, understand all the nuances, just to be able to vote intelligently and do what we need to do. Our citizens out there, this methodology that's utilized in the state and in the county is very confusing. I'd like to make the additional point is this is not a matter that we could have a penny 100 tax and we get all our sales tax distribution money back. The way the scale works, we'd have to tax substantially with a property tax to get back part of the sales tax distribution money. It's not like there's any reasonable proportion to that if we indeed did have a property tax.
I can understand there's different political philosophies. Statewide, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it at all, why it's like this. I hope somebody will wake up one of these days, and I'm not talking about you. I believe if you was the king of the county, that we'd probably be in good shape, but you're not. Might wish you was, but, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I guess we're trying to figure out whether we ought to ask y'all for money. We don't like asking y'all for money, just to tell you the truth. We like being independent. We just like getting back what we've, our citizens put in. They deserve it,
When the politicians have the mindset that if they don't get a property tax increase, they're losing money, that's wrong. That's way wrong. And that seems to be the mindset. If we don't get the property tax increase, we're losing money. Well, we don't feel that way out here. And quite frankly, I resent it, not only from the county, but the state as well. And the federal government will go all the way up. It's not your money, it is our money. But that's enough said. Let's move on.
You second his motion, or somebody second his motion?
I don't have a second to that motion. The motion is to continue this conversation
The motion was to table this agenda item
till the end.
to the end of the meeting before the
I'll second the motion to it, so we can table it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am also aye.
Thank you, Mr. Landers.
Okay. Mr. Hunter? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Hunter is our landscaper who takes care of our soccer fields and does a very, very good job at it. We appreciate it. Glad to see you're in good health, at least better health.
We're alive, so it's always good. Yeah, I was,
If you would, give us your name and
my name's Michael
address.
Hunter with Hunter Enterprises. I've been, working on y'all's athletic fields for several years. And, I know I was talking with Tim the other day, and he was talking about, with the lights, looking at increased, play and stuff like that. There's some stuff, maybe a few things we could do to try to make it, a little more better, a little more leveler for them. And I was talking about top dressing, deep tying, and I brought one of my deep tines with me so everybody could see it. It punches in the ground on a machine. We put all that sand out there and screech it across, and that helps get it in holes. You're amending the soils, what you're after, and that helps it. Bermuda loves sand and gets that sand down in the ground and changing your soil conditions to a sandier soil and stuff like that. And it's a process that's done on athletic fields everywhere. And it helps it drain better, it relieves the compaction, and it makes it a whole lot more, it actually helps a lot with safety because you don't have that much compaction for the kids, stuff like that. But
And Mr. Hunter, in years past, you have done this on our soccer fields. I guess it's maybe been, I'm just shooting from the hip here, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, the last
I'll be
time.
closer to 10.
Okay. I lose track of time. I remember years ago when this was done.
It's
And
been a while.
And I, we should have covered the other quote first, but I'm fine with this. We've had some heavy equipment on the fields, putting up the lights, bucket trucks and cranes and cement trucks and all that sort of thing, which is one reason why I think this may be something to consider. So there's that. And then it just dawned on me recently, maybe the other council members are far ahead of me with this, but since we put the lights up, we're gonna have more play on these fields.
Yep, that's correct. And this would help with the extra play. Doing this is one of the things you could do to compensate some of the extra play that you're going to start receiving. And it's a NC State, they recommend doing it like 5 or 6 times to a field every year, but they got an unlimited budget, so they don't care. But, if a place can do it once a year or every other year, that's really good. It's just so much more better than a regular aeration and stuff like that. And these things just it punches in the ground and it pulls these big plugs out. And if you got to put enough sand out there to have something to work with. Just imagine screeching concrete or something, where you pull it across. If you just put a little bit of sand out there, you can't do that.
And your machine is far heavier than what you would use in a yard. It vibrates, it's on a tractor, it
weighs 3,000 pounds.
Yeah,
Just the machine, not the tractor, just the machine.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
these go in, and these things are like $30-some a piece, and when we're done with it, it's wore out. It's not a cheap thing to do, but it's very effective in a lot of athletic fields. We do a lot down here, a lot of high schools, golf courses, and Bryan Park and stuff like that.
One of the reasons I would like to see this done is to try and build some crown up in our fields. Our fields, ever since they were built, they're relatively flat. I mean, we have almost no crown in our fields.
Yeah, and when I did some figuring on the sand, and I figured enough where we could add at least 25 tons just in the middle, trying to create a little bit of a crown. Probably a little bit more than that, but you can't go but so thick. You got to have the Bermuda being able to grow through it, so you can do a little bit. You can do some every year. Maybe next year you could just go right down the middle, increase it a little bit, and drag it around, work it around where you have start getting a crown, because there's not much of a crown there really whatsoever. I think years ago we filled it in. It was actually low, best I remember, and we filled it in and sprigged it or something like that years ago, right down the middle where it was in pretty bad shape, and it needs some sod repair down there. That's something that would have to be measured and tried to accommodate a time where you could stay off of it for a little while so we can get the sod to take and closing the fields.
Your estimate here has a line item for top dress in both fields.
Yeah, that's for all of it.
When you say top dress, what product are you using at what rate?
That is sand that comes out of Candor, Pinehurst area, the good high quality sand. And we typically put down 50 tons to an acre, but here I'm counting on putting a little bit more, and really heavy throughout the center for, probably 30, 40 foot, so we could try to get some crown back in it that it just don't have now. And if we did this in conjunction with it, it would help the drainage and make it a little more softer, and you after trying to get the roots to go down, and that's what the longevity of this is getting to go down.
What time of year are we talking about trying to do this?
And when it's good and hot.
So
You can't
we're
do it in
gonna
the
have to
winter.
restrict the field's use during the hottest part of the year.
Once I would do it, it would be some sand, but once I'm done with it, in a day and a half, we'll just say 2 days, you could play on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might have to deal with a little bit of sand.
Out of the
but-
question to try to do one and then do the other. It's economy of
Well-
scale has got to be to do both of them at the same time.
It would be more economical to do everything at one time instead of trying to do one field and come back a week later. But we could have it playable in one day.
This,
The
Does
youth
this-
organization's season's over. They don't have a summer season, so I don't think it would
excellent,
interfere with them.
excellent. So this other bid that you've got here is this is the remediation that where somebody, out of the goodness of their heart, decided to fill this in with just field dirt and rocks.
Yeah,
Good Samaritan.
we've already done it.
You have
y'all
done
got
it?
something. Y'all had something going on. I think a tournament or something this weekend, and I know y'all's working on it tonight. We just come up here and done it, and if you don't want to pay it, I don't care. You don't have to. I just
Now,
want to
this
do
is
it.
the kind of vendor I've been talking about.
That's right.
Okay?
Pat, take notice here.
I'm here for a long time.
See if y'all can't get that going on at the county.
I wish the county would do like that on our tax bills.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? You know, over in South, our schools ain't got no money. They didn't run out.
We, you know, I have compared Mr. Hunter to the old farmers that I grew up in the area with. I could name a lot of names on that list that, they have expertise that they make it look easy. They're just, in part artists. And Mr. Hunter has quite an investment in trucks and specialized machines. I remember back when he sprigged those fields, you know, he's got stuff that, it's high dollar stuff. He's got an investment that is substantial, in all this equipment he has. It's just specialized for turf grass that, we need to, always keep in mind that we can't necessarily find this kind of, company and this kind of service on, you know, every corner.
Good. I appreciate all the work that
Yeah.
you've done for me the last 10
Yes,
years.
thank you, thank
I
you.
remember what it was like when you first started, and, yeah.
Yeah, it's come a long way, and
Yes, sir.
it sure has, and we always enjoyed doing it, and y'all are easy to work with and appreciate it, and
Does-
anything we can do for you.
Will this sand need to be watered in? Did you have a chance to check our sprinkler system like we discussed?
There's too many people on the field. It was a zoo down there when I went down there this afternoon.
Well, that would have cleared them off. Okay, I got it.
And me too.
Let it rain.
Put a couple tarps down, tell them a slip and slide down.
Yeah, it's, they wasn't a square inch out there that wasn't covered with kids somewhere and adults and everybody. So I didn't dare turn it on. I was my intentions, but they had a lot going on there. But I'll get up here one day and run through it and see where we're at with it and make sure it's okay.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Hunter?
We may, I'd like to make a motion to approve this $600
I'll second that
estimate.
motion.
That was dated 5/7/25, Hunter Enterprises for removal of the rocks on the field.
Second?
Yeah, I've already seconded it. Do we have any discussion? Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Ms. Thacker, I would ask, are there funds available for this other work that we're talking about doing, this 15,000?
No, I don't know where those would come from.
Kim, I would offer, you know, the unobligated ARPA funds.
Well, it can come, right, it can come from there.
Excellent, excellent idea.
I'm gonna take the 600 out of the, where, the town park, the repairs and things for town park. I'm taking that out of there. So, yeah, my recommendation would be the ARPA funds. And,
You want to make a motion? You want me to make a motion?
Yeah, and just to double check that the money is there this year.
yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Then I'll go ahead and move, that we accept the proposal from Hunter Enterprises dated May 7th, 2025, estimate number 19, in the amount of $15,000. This would pay for the deep tying grass on both fields. We will also dress both fields with 175 tons of sand. This is in the amount of $15,000 to start sometime after June 1st, and that this money would come from the ARPA fund.
I'll second.
And I got one question for Mr. Hunter before I vote on this. You will take care of applying the necessary amount of water to this. We won't have to get anybody else to do that, right?
Yeah, well, that process doesn't require any water whatsoever, not like the sod, you know, the sod we're gonna look at.
Well, the thing about it here is, you know how much water it needs. We don't.
Right,
You're the
right.
best one to make that judgment when it needs water.
When we go down there and measure the sod, we can work that out. You know, you was explaining to me, you have an outside spigot now where years ago we did it, we had to get in the concession stand.
We've moved up in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah,
An
well,
outside
good, that's
spigot
good.
now.
That makes it easier for everybody.
Bunch of liberals running the place now, you know, spending money like we had it. Okay, we've got a motion and we've got a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith? Mr. Jones?
And,
And I am also aye. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Hunter.
y'all.
We appreciate your work.
thank you, sir.
Mr. Hunter,
Mr.
Mr.
Winfrey,
Hunter,
if you feel the need, you may leave.
well, please,
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
good.
Okay.
Send me an invoice for the 600, because this is an estimate. I'll get that paid for you. I'll get that taken care of. Okay. Thank you.
Would this serve as your invoice?
No, it's an estimate. That's an estimate. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, thank you. Have a
being
good
here.
evening. Be safe. Okay, discussion of paving repair for all paved surfaces in the Stokesdale Town Hall, Stokesdale Town Park area. And that's Mr. Jones and myself. I was fortunate enough to talk with a couple of different companies that do the sealing and paving. I actually talked to 3 different companies. We've come to the conclusion that we don't want a spray-on product. The spray-on product just doesn't last from all reviews, and it doesn't last from my own experience. I have some little bit of experience with this, having some parking lots. But the 2 that we have, as I said earlier, they vary from $50,000 to like $84,000, roughly. And from what I can tell, they're basically the same process. Each was aware of the existing damage that's already there above and beyond just what's needed to be sealed and tarred and that kind of thing. So I think their estimates are going to be between the 2. If we need to put this out for bids. We're going to find it to be somewhere in that general vicinity.
Mr. Mayor, I think that, I'm agreeing with you here. I think this needs refinement. We still got a few spots we need to look at and see if we need to address any drainage issues, like on the far end of the soccer field where the walking track comes around. We're not sure if we got good drainage there. And folks were kind of rushing to get this done and to pass some numbers to possibly make a request to Guilford County. That's one thing that's why we're not in the best spot here with having this totally prepared. But you know, I think it needs to be refined, and we need to be sure we nail down any drainage issues before we vote for an estimate for the asphalt sealing.
I agree. This is right now just discussion, but I think we need to pursue this, and Mr. Jones and I will do just that.
But I wanted to be sure the other council members took a look at it and we let them know what we were doing, and if they had any questions or concerns, they could let us know.
Yeah, I have no questions and concerns, and appreciate your diligence and your continued research on the matter.
Mr. Jones just discussed the drainage system. I think that's probably pretty well covered with that, unless you have something else you'd like to add to it, Mr. Jones.
Well, yeah. Several years ago, we had trouble with a grate down at the park that would get clogged with leaves and debris, and then water would back up and run across the parking lot towards the fields and enter another drain. And previous council voted to have that grate removed, and that left a pretty deep V ditch there. I had Aaron Bepson, our engineer with Hazen and Sawyer, take a look at it the other day, pro bono. And, we batted the idea back and forth of putting some smaller riprap in there on top of some landscape fabric and kind of reshaping the ditch and dressing it up. That's the current plan, I think, if there is one. I don't have an estimate from anyone to do that. I made a phone call, but the fellow didn't call me back, and I don't have an estimate for it. But there's that area, and then there's on the far end of the soccer fields on the west end, there's a couple of places where there are trenches that have been cut across the walking track. And I think down under there, if we dig, we would find 4-inch pipe, and I don't think those drains are working anymore. I don't know if those drains need to be retrofitted or repaired. The issue may be a matter of simply sloping the walking track so that the water runs off of it. It's standing on the inside curve there right now, and we think that's causing some deterioration to our asphalt there. So, we're still, the mayor and I are still talking to people and try to figure out the best fix for that with the money that we have available. And so, there's that. And, there's a few spots where water's not draining off our asphalt, and it's leaving a little bird bath because the grass has filtered and caught some of the sediment over the years, and the grass is the sod is actually higher than the asphalt. That the simple fix will be to have a landscaper take a piece of equipment and kind of skim some of the soil off there and repair that back. So that's another thing that we need to address before we pull the trigger and have the asphalt recoated. So, you know, we're just not ready to make a vote to do these things, but again, they're on the agenda because of the possibility of making a request to Guilford County for some of the Guilford County funds to help pay for it.
Exactly. The next item, on our agenda was for discussion of, hell. Give me a minute. Okay.
Concession building.
Yeah, concession.
Number 13.
The concession building. Consideration nonprofit. Mr. Jones is good enough to pursue this a bit. I think we've got an opportunity there, provided we find the right vendor to do it.
Well, I met this week down there with Parks and Rec President Jason Baumforth, and he was supposed to be here tonight. He's indicated to me with text that they're having some sort of difficulty at the ball field at Stokesdale, so apparently he can't make it. I'll do the best I can with this. Last year, we had some discussions about getting that space cleaned out. We're currently using it for, some limited storage. There's stuff in there that really, it's not the best use for the space. I'd like to see it used. Our citizens bought it. It was built for a concession building, and Mr. Baumforth had never been inside, so I let him inside. We had a conversation about all the particulars. He thinks it would work for Stokesdale Parks and Rec without a lot of improvement. I hope I don't miss anything here, but what we talked about was a base rate for the electricity that we would do a worksheet calculation for what the town has been paying over the years and develop a base rate that the town would continue to pay. The power bill would stay in the town's name, and then Stokesdale Parks and Rec would pay anything over that. So that's the power bill. It would be useful if the town's wireless internet could be picked up down there one way or the other, if we could make that happen. The current electrical system in there's an electrical panel, but I'm not sure if there are enough 120 volt outlets in there, so we might need to add a circuit or two, which I told him I thought council would be willing to do that. And there's a couple of ceiling fans in there, but the paddles on them have relaxed over time, and they at least need to be replaced, if not the whole fan. I told him I thought council would probably be willing to do that. The space is about 10 foot by 19 on the inside. The opening that opens up to the serving window is 42 inches wide, and there's a small sink inside. We have a hot water heater we can turn on. There's a mop sink. He didn't anticipate the need to add any additional plumbing fixtures, and so that's plumbing and electrical. He indicated he didn't think they needed air conditioning. The fans will be sufficient. There's already electric heat there. The agreement that we would have to enter into is where we're going to need Mr. Winfrey. The town of Stokesdale would be entering into an agreement with Stokesdale Parks and Rec that's a nonprofit. And so I was hoping we could find another town doing this that we could model an agreement with. I think that there needs to be a fee schedule line item added for this, for the rent of that space. What Mr. Baumforth and I talked about was a monthly rental, and possibly that, we would forego charging them for the off-season. Not sure exactly how many months out of the year that they would want this space. They feel like that they can utilize an existing structure in their organization wherein they pay teenagers to work concessions. They already have a system in place for inventory, for their payroll, basically, they already have the operation kind of canned. They're using it somewhere else, so they feel like that's workable. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They already have something that would serve that need. I stressed to him that in order to have my support, that I didn't want it to create a budget drain on our budget, another line item for concessions. I stressed to him I didn't think that I could support us having to hire a town employee, for example, to work in that concession building. All those things would take us a place where I don't think we want to go. And so, we had a very positive meeting. He was enthusiastic about this, was going to go back and talk to his board members. And again, something happened. He wasn't able to make it tonight. Where I would like for us to have some discussion about this and possibly task the town staff, Mr. Winfrey, our town attorney, to try and come up with a suitable agreement that we can utilize to make this happen and protect the town's interest and allow our citizens to have the use of this facility that they paid for. I think I got it covered. That's it.
Mr. Jones, would it be your intention that they would be the only ones allowed to use are they exclusive, or is anybody else willing to use it?
It would, because they would have a significant investment in refrigeration, freezers, microwave possibly, certain machines like that. Plus, they would have inventory inside and supplies. I did stress to them we would still need access to get into the mechanical chase for the bathrooms and the electrical panel, that the town would, have to have an authorized, we would have to retain a right to enter. But I don't think it's feasible to rent it to one entity 1 month and another entity the next month. I mean, it's just there's too much that would have to happen to make that work.
So it'd be per calendar year then? Are you thinking that this would be,
It would be month to month. It would just be a month-to-month lease or rent.
On our fee schedule, it'd be a monthly rent, but I think that we would want at least a year
of a term?
that would renew each year. We didn't get that deep into this, but
Okay.
I would think we'd want at least a year here.
Would we need to even add something to the fee schedule if this is kind of handled outside? It's almost like
Well,
sort of
it is,
leasing the space.
it is, I'm just keeping in mind it's public property. As long as Stacker and Mr. Winfrey are happy with us not having something on the fee schedule, as long as we're legal, I'm not stuck on that idea.
The legal, if any legal binding would be the signed contract between both parties, right?
Right, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we're contemplating they would sign a contract where they have exclusive use of this for some term, which I'm assuming is at least, I mean,
I think it needs to be a year. It's just unworkable.
I agree with that.
and then, in exchange for us giving them an essential license agreement or the right to operate it,
And
We would be
essentially store
paid.
their goods there.
Could,
And store their
that's right.
goods.
could this be done with a license agreement? Like, I know that's the type of agreement used for food trucks, for example, is a license agreement versus a real estate rental type arrangement.
Versus a lease, yeah, so you have a license agreement and versus a lease. Licenses are easier to terminate typically than a lease is.
Yeah, well, it's certainly my intent for it to be a friendly arrangement, but we have to remember, we work for the town and have to protect the town's assets, et cetera, et cetera.
Let me put my thinking cap on and try to come up with what a good, if you're okay with my speaking with Mr. Baumforth about
Absolutely.
how to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Structure that in a way that protects the town and protects their investments and what they would be doing too.
Yeah, I don't know how soon that we really want to make this happen, but I would anticipate sooner rather than later. Oh, and there's one thing additional I wanted to add to let council know. The mayor and I have plotted and schemed, and we think we can store the orange barrels in this space around beside our generator and cover them with some black trash bags and strap those together and kind of make at least a temporary job out of that. And that would leave a new water fountain that's in there and some rubber bumpers for our parking lot that are in there. Everything, there's a lot of things in there that simply could be thrown away. And the only problem I really see with all of it, any janitorial supplies or equipment in there that are being utilized to clean our bathrooms, we may need to find another space for those because I think we'll run out of function if we don't. But once those barrels out of there, they're the bulk of what's in there, and we're just not making good use of that space. I mean, this is kind of, what we've been doing is a little ridiculous. If we can get it where our citizens can utilize it, I think that would be a win-win for Parks and Rec and, parents, kids. I can't think of a reason not to do this so long as it doesn't impact our general fund budget greatly beyond the initial expenses.
And as long as there's nobody else that would want to be able to use that space.
Yeah, well, that's maybe the wrinkle, but I would not want I would not want to rent it to a for-profit business. I think that would create certain possible problems. We, as council members, from time to time, we've discussed that, letting it out for a bid and let a private business bid on that concession. But I think I feel so much better about Parks and Rec using it. They're already organized. They already have a system in place to run concessions. They're a very big presence in this town. They are the ones that are taking care of the recreation for the bulk of our kids. And I just can't see doing anything else, really. Just as long as we can get it legal.
Any other questions? Yes?
I do have, so I agree that if it's gonna be exclusively for them or what have you, I don't think we need another, line in the budget for that. However, as far as the power bill goes, you're stating that, I think that needs to be in the contract.
Oh, absolutely. I'll work with Mr. Wagner. We'll pull the old records.
Oh, okay.
We'll get an average of the kilowatt hours. We'll come up with something in worksheet form to get a base rate to put into the contract, and then Stokesdale Parks and Rec will pay anything over that.
Are the new lights gonna affect that, or it's a different meter?
There's a separate meter for the concession building, bathrooms and the concession building. And, the town, I don't want the town to have to pay for a bunch of refrigeration. I don't know what the hot water bill might wind up being. And Mr. Baumforth, expressed he was perfectly willing to have Parks and Rec pay this bill. They're going to generate a certain amount of income that will cover their expenses, he feels. And neither one of us anticipate any problem them paying for their electric usage. We just have to establish that base rate. And Mr. Wagner and I will come up with something to get us started with that'll make sense, I hope.
Ms. Thacker's got some concerns that concession stand is not a standalone bill.
I don't know if that's a standalone bill.
That's gonna make it
I just need to find that out.
What do you mean you don't know if it's a standalone building?
Oh, it has its own meter,
It's got its own meter. It's got to have its own
so
bill.
it should be. I mean,
Okay.
Talk to me if you can't figure it out. I'll go down there and get the meter number off of it and
Okay.
compare it to the invoices we get. We'll figure it out, but it's got to have its own bill because it's got its own meter.
Okay. Gotcha.
okay. Next item for discussion is the epoxy flooring for public restrooms in Stokesdale Town Park. I have gotten 2 estimates for that. They range from $4,300 to $5,800. What we are thinking about, if you would care to see what has been done, we understand Oak Ridge in their restrooms in their park area have done just this, and that is to protect the concrete floor. The floors in our restrooms are just bare concrete. They're sealed, but there's no real protection on them at all. Mr. Jones and I pursued the idea of having an epoxy product put in, and we even have the bids, let's see if I'm not mistaken, I think the bids were also going to include the concession area, but we don't need that. So these bid numbers may be, yeah, it does say that, concession and storage room.
And we don't need to do the mechanical chase, what you call
No,
the storage room.
those are,
And-
so
and- and
these
Mr.
both would probably come down
And Mr. Baumforth indicated the floor was fine the way it is in the concession
in
area.
the concession area,
Yeah.
correct,
My-
yeah.
My motivation here is to get the floors in our bathrooms where they can be cleaned and sanitized better. I don't like the porous part of the concrete there, the germs and Jesus, you can't see either one. And so, that's where my concern is. We need to, in my opinion, be sure we have the cut sheets for any manufactured products that are going to be, used in this job. In my opinion, we need to have a plumber remove the
Fixtures.
toilets and protect the fixtures as necessary and have them reinstall them. And so we have 8 bathrooms. My vision would be that we do 4 at a time. And that way we can maintain service to our citizens. And in case I get lost here with it or forget that we have some floor drains down there that we need to be, I think we need to have the plumber temporarily plug those floor drains to make sure no epoxy product gets down there even by accident. I've had some, I used to work for a couple of companies applying epoxy floors for years. And I have witnessed some problems where the stuff has gotten out of control and gotten down into a drain, and we don't want to go there. So we need to protect those floor drains. The product that I see over in the bathrooms in Oak Ridge, the bathroom across from the Oak Ridge Town Hall is kind of where the mayor and I are using as a reference point. Just to, I thought maybe council might want to stick your head in there and take a look at that. That's kind of what we're talking about. It doesn't have to be that product. It doesn't have to be that color. But what I'm interested in is getting them where we feel good about our Stokesdale kids using them, that we feel like we can keep them clean. I think we need to step up a little bit. I realize that we probably meet the standard for public parks across the county, but they just seem a little dirty to me. And I don't like the idea of spending the money, but that's just, and I've gotten some complaints from citizens about them. I don't know if you all have or not, but I have gotten some complaints.
The other part of this is one of these 2 bids was actually from the company that did Oak Ridge. So we have a chance to look at the kind of work they do, and the other company can provide us with the same kind of references. The other thing that we just kind of touched on was the walls. There is one wall. It's the wall that backs up to the, what did you call it? What's that hallway?
Mechanical chase.
The mechanical chase. That wall is drywall, and personally, I feel like it needs to be epoxied. It would be not this same product, by the way, but with an epoxy paint that is going to be much easier to clean. So that's
Which one of the 2 do you recommend we do as far as the proposals?
I don't think we're ready to vote on this tonight. I'd like for council to have a look at Oak Ridge and make sure that, you guys understand what we're trying to do. You might have come up with a better idea. You might not like it. I mean, I don't know. Epoxy is pretty much permanent, and it has to be, the prep has to be done right the first time. It has to be applied correctly the first time. It's one of those things you don't really get a do-over with it, so we need to be careful what we do.
Which one did Oak Ridge use?
the floor shield.
How long's the product last?
That's a good question.
It says 15-year warranty is what that floor shield one says.
15-year non-prorated warranty is the floor shield quotation.
So what does that mean?
It would protect it against penetration. It should protect it against chipping. I mean, you know,
One of those deals where wear and tear, I mean, you're gonna get wear and tear.
yes, but they're,
Because if you do it, you're gonna have to turn around again sometime and do it again.
I don't anticipate that.
Tim has the experience with this.
I don't, you know, this stuff is pretty bulletproof for just pedestrian traffic on it. It's not like we're running forklifts on it or have a lot of, it's in a chemical processing plant or any of those kind of uses. I'll ask that question and get back to you, you know. And to address the mayor's concern, the walls, I think the walls need to be, you know, acid washed, pressure washed. The thing is just over time, it's just gotten dirtier and dirtier. And if the walls don't need coating, I think they need some good industrial cleaning. And again, you know, I don't have grandkids using it, but some of y'all do, and I'd just like for it to be reasonably clean, or even cleaner than. I want to win the award for the cleanest bathrooms in the county. That would suit me fine.
Have you seen Oak Ridges?
Oh yeah,
Tim.
And you're comfortable with Oak Ridges?
I am. But I would encourage council to go have a look at it. We need to tell Mr. Rigsby to stick his head in there.
I mean, I trust your judgment, you know, when it comes to bathroom floors.
And so I just,
Well, again, it gives us these two bids give us an idea of the kind of money that we would, along with the paving that we want to do, or the repair to the paving. This idea was to give us an idea of what we would be asking for from the county.
Right, what you guys will be. So we're looking at $4,300 plus, what's the total on this? So 43.
You've got one for 49, and the other is 84.
I wrote down 6,000, not having any idea how much a plumber might charge us for their portion of this. Parks and Rec referred a plumber to me, but I haven't had a chance to call him yet.
We're not finished yet either with what we would include in this request. If we can move to the next item.
Yeah,
Any further discussion about the epoxy?
I don't want to make a motion on this item, but I did want council to
I don't think we're ready to do that.
let council and
So
citizens know what we're doing.
Why aren't we ready? Why don't you think we're ready? I mean, you guys.
Well, for one
thing, we don't have the money.
For one reason, want to be sure wherever the money comes from, we might be able to look at just doing, you know, acid etching the floors to clean them and put some kind of concrete sealer on the floors and let the epoxy business go for a while. It just kind of depends on how much. I prefer the epoxy, but it may be a cheaper solution that we could look into.
Do I understand that the concession area, it's included in the estimate, it's not needed?
It is in there, but we would not epoxy the concession area.
So it's overstating then what we need.
It is overstated, yes.
Yeah. This is just kind of evolving. We haven't got it refined enough to vote on, in my opinion. But again, we were trying to get these numbers together in case council wanted to remake that request to Gifford County for funding.
I understand now, okay.
Okay. The next item was the consideration of the Stokesdale Town Park playground fencing. Mr. Jones?
If I may, I look at since we expanded the playground, there's a corner of it that's basically stuck into the woods, stuck into the bushes. And I'm very concerned about the little kids there being exposed to wildlife, whether it, you don't be careful out here, I don't scare anybody, but you know, a rabid raccoon or, you know, a fox or whatever it might be. And I'd like to cut that vegetation back maybe, you know, 20 foot from the border of that playground, you know, have it removed. I just think it's too close. It's too close from a poison oak perspective, from snakes. I know, you know, kids love to get down in the woods and play a little bit, but I just don't know if we're responsible having a public playground that close to the woods. I can see where the kids or somebody have already been down in there, you know, with some pathways and everywhere they've been playing down in there. And I know from my days when I used to go with my kids when they were little to playgrounds, you know, if you go to a fenced-in playground, you can kind of sit on the bench and relax a little more because the only way they can get out is come by you at the gate, and so you don't have to worry about them, you look up and they're running down through the woods or running down across the field or what have you. And so, I looked at it the other day. I didn't take a measurement, but I think even a three-sided fence might be a possible solution for us and leave the end open towards our picnic shelter there. Whatever council wants to do, but I just think that there's, I'd like to see those trees and bushes, cut back further from the playground.
We're not talking about fencing in the playground. We just want a buffer between the
Yeah.
playground and the woods.
I'm saying that maybe a three-sided fence might be a solution, and I'm thinking either black or brown vinyl-coated chain link, whatever council's preference might be there. I kind of like the National Park Service brown that's commonly utilized, but you don't want me decorating or picking colors. I'm just about colorblind, so I'll let somebody else do that, but,
How tall a fence?
the standard's 42 inches, isn't it?
Yeah,
What are you gonna keep?
probably
out of him with that?
48 at most.
Excuse me?
What are you gonna keep? You could have kept my kids out at 2 years old with 42-inch fence.
Well,
Whatever
there has to
council's
be some
preference
parental
is.
supervision. I mean, that's the whole idea. There has to be some parental supervision, and I think the other thing is animals. We've had a situation in the past with our furry friends coming into the park. We just kind of want to ensure that, or at least reduce the risk that may happen again.
Well, I understand, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying 42-inch fence ain't
That's
gonna
ain't gonna
keep
stop a
none
kid. My 6-foot fence ain't gonna stop a kid.
Well,
But we are counting on a little bit of parental supervision too.
that. Oh, okay.
And I don't think we're not building something that's dangerous, so.
I used to have a 6-foot fence, and they jump out of it.
Well, now that you think about it, my little one, I remember him, he learned how to climb over a 6-foot wooden fence in his backyard. It was amazing how fast he could get over it. But it at
Okay.
least still can slow them down a little
you're
bit
gonna-
before they get
this-
lost.
And you're gonna cut the shade tree down on the corner where the bench is at, where us old guys go and sit and watch our grandkids?
Yes, we
Want
have
to cut
shade
it back,
We
not
have
cut it
shade,
down.
we have shade covers the town has bought for the playground.
You
You
got a
want to put
shade
up
tree
another
over
one?
there.
I'm open to putting up another one. I just explained my
I'm just
rationale.
messing with you.
If you
I'm
wanna
being the
do
devil's
different-
advocate.
If you want to do different, we'll do different.
Okay. Those are several of the items that we would ask the county for funding for. Mr. Jones also has it down here, consideration of revision of the current Hydromax USA contract. I'm not sure exactly what that is, so I'll leave it to you, Mr. Jones.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I put this on here when it seemed like we were having trouble getting the Hydromax to actually start, but praise be, they started this week. I've been out a couple of times observing, and very impressed with the two guys and the equipment that are being utilized for the town. I think they've made a good start. We have a system in place with them and Hazen and Sawyer to geolocate the valves and track the status of each valve. Some of them we can't find, some of them need, the risers need to be raised up. There's various things that need to be serviced with them. But my chief complaint has been I wanted to see a better blue paint utilized on the riser lid and on the edge of the pavement, and they have addressed my concern. For the moment, I'm satisfied about that. And I thought about taking this item off, but I just wanted to speak to everybody and let you all know that at least for me, in my opinion, I think they're exactly what we need in the time we need them and with the equipment that's needed. And those guys seem very confident to me, and so I'm pretty happy we got them started.
I too visited, and I agree with Mr. Jones. They seem to be doing a very good job with what we've asked them to do. They've made some modifications. The blue paint was a little bit of an issue to begin with, but I think they've made the correction to that. Okay, we've taken care of item number 17. We've already approved both of those expenditures. Next item was the 17A storage building. Mr. Jones?
Yeah, part of this had to do with the possible request to Guilford County for funding. I've got a couple of calls in, some folks to get some price ranges. And all this is an idea. You folks may have a different opinion about this, but we need to clean out the concession building. There is a business on the corner in Stokesdale at 68 and 158 that's selling the storage buildings, and I'm perfectly okay with getting a quote for them and see if we can give that business to a local business here in town, but they hadn't called me back yet. But I think there's basically two sizes that I think we should buy, one or the other, basically a 10 by 12 or a 12 by 24. And I don't have good pricing for it, but the 10 by 12s I think are gonna run anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. The 12 by 24, I think that could run between 5 and 8, depending on, well, you know, whether you got a roll-up door, depending on whether you got a walk-in door, depending on where you got a window, et cetera, et cetera. And the mayor and I were out here looking in the back of the building around the generator the other day, and I think we could fit a 10 by 12 building there and use it temporarily. I see the possibility of the town, you know, maybe using it there in that place for 5 years and then maybe moving it or maybe building a bigger building. You know, we probably would outgrow it. And one of the benefits of buying a small movable storage shed is that it's movable. You know, if we had to, we can move it, you know, 3 times around the town property to meet the town's needs. So that is pretty much what I see, and that's why I think we need one. I think we could build one 100 by 100, and it would fill up. It's just, you know, the nature of storage for any organization.
Crawford's law of available space.
Mr. T, didn't you get a bunch of prices with the committee about buildings? You remember off the top of your head?
I had spoken with, Buck's building, down there and got some optional prices on different sizes.
You want to come to the microphone so we get it on tape?
Yeah, we looked at that in the property, not the property committee, but the, property improvement committee.
Yeah, I've actually been out and spoken with, I believe his name is Lenny, out at Bunt's building, which, by the way, they did participate in our Christmas parade this year as a sponsor. So I would certainly like to include them in the proposals if we would. But we did get one about a year ago. I believe it was a 12 by 14 at that point in time. I think it was about $7,500 delivered, but there were some different options and stuff.
I remember you'd got some numbers, but we looked at that.
So far as the price range I'm running at here, I'm not far off.
No, you're close. Yeah.
You know, the days are gone when you could buy one for $2,000.
Exactly. But I'm sure they would work with us. And the good thing about Bunts is that they are, well, you know, they have supported us, but they're also manufactured in Lexington, so they're locally built here. And you can customize them to fit your needs as well. And to be quite honest, I did go to Stars as well, was not real impressed with what they had to offer, much more so with Bunts.
Okay. Well,
Also to Mr. Jones's point, the 12 by 20 would, the 12 wide would make it much more movable than, say, the 14.
And that was the idea as well, because I believe Jimmy and I had spoken about the ability to move it.
Yeah.
And put it on a rollback, wasn't it, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
would fit
we
if
went
it
over
was
this
12
quite a few
wide.
times in the committee meetings.
Yeah.
And, you know, even concessions and stuff like that. You guys ought to jump on the committee and let me and Derek off.
It'd be wonderful.
Just
we got
call. I
you
mean,
right where.
y'all got a big interest in this.
No,
You need to
we
get on the
had-
committee and you
we're
can do
just-
all that stuff.
We're trying to take care of the things we were working on. This just happens to fall into
Yeah.
other areas.
If we could, real quick, go back just to the previous topic. We did get a quote from Excellence to clear an additional 10 feet behind the playground last fall. But we had not followed through with that and did not.
Sure.
Do you have any idea what it was?
2,500
That's just to clear it.
to clear it. Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
that
you
was 10
figure
feet.
that,
Haul everything off.
you figure that, and maybe
Haul it
another
off, yeah.
2,500 for the fence. That's a high number, I would think,
What, the
for
fence?
chain link. We're only talking about 3 sections, right?
Yep, that's.
Yeah, I don't have a
I
quote
tell you what,
for
that
it.
stuff's expensive. I was looking at some.
Okay, well.
Matter of fact, I was overlooking at some, and this is just the.
Okay,
hurricane
well,
talk.
I guess the next thing is, thank you, T.
Sorry.
You have anything else?
No, he just answered my question.
Okay, the other thing is the continuing item number 10. And it'd be my thought that with the conversation that we've had this evening, if Tim, I'll be glad to work with you on this. We can put together the numbers that we've kind of come up with, as well as whatever prices we're able to find outside, to come up with a number that we would request from the county.
Yeah, but we gotta do it tonight, or we'll have to call a special call meeting between now and Wednesday in order to get it in by next Thursday to Mr. Tillman.
Okay, so do you have a motion?
Well, I'd rather we be a little more united about the matter. Mr. Foy has concerns, and I don't easily ignore those. I recognize that, you know, at the end of the day, we're a tiny little town in Guilford County, 1% of the population, and we just don't have much clout with Guilford County on a good day. It's not my intent, certainly not my intent to antagonize them, asking them for money. We hadn't received any sales tax distribution money in over 20 years. And we have all this infrastructure that's getting aged and starting to need more and more maintenance. And I don't know. I'm gonna feel real good about it if our House Bill 305 passes the legislature, but, you know, that will be a while. Even if it passes the House next week, it'll still have to go through the Senate, and I don't know when that'll be. So, folks, I don't have the answer.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, it's just my opinion. I just don't feel that the timing is right. I don't like the idea of attaching a condition to the motion, attaching it to House Bill 305. I don't want to imply that because if we do get House Bill 305, I don't want that to imply that in the future we would not come to the county with a request, because philosophically I don't have a problem with it. I think it makes sense from time to time. I'm just cognizant of. Go ahead, Tim.
Mr. Foy, my opinion is if it's a unanimous request, we shouldn't do it. That's kind of where I kind of come down here. I don't.
I mean,
It's.
I mean, that's what's that's what's beautiful about this form of government is there's multiple folks, multiple opinions here, and you put it to vote, and the majority carries.
I know, but we're dealing with a 300-pound gorilla, that being Guilford County, and
they don't have to know the vote and the request.
Well, you make very good points, Derek, with, we do not want to confuse this thing with 305. The problem that I see is if, God forbid, it doesn't go through, then we've got to wait another year. And I'm very concerned about the degradation that we already have in certain spots, especially in the parking lot.
Well, I mean, and another thing to consider is there still are ARPA funds remaining, even after obligating an additional $15,000 tonight. There's another thing to consider is we had a $61,722 budget surplus from last year. We're likely going to have a budget surplus this year unless something wonky happens here in the last 2 months. We're not broke. If these are urgent matters, I feel the way that I do about approaching the county at this time, and but that's okay.
You make sense. You make a lot of sense. I'll have to say, if I agree with Tim, if we're not united on it, I don't think we should move.
Well, we for the benefit of the folks gathered here and what have you, we've, in a sense, our bill has kind of stirred up the Democrats in the area, speaking out against our bill. I think, to a large extent, a lot of them don't understand the difference between per capita and ad valorem distribution. There's even one that argued in front of the House this week that we didn't put anything in the trough. And that's certainly not true. All of our citizens are paying sales tax along with all the other citizens in Guilford County. So there's a lot of mistruths floating around about the distribution of sales tax money and how the ad valorem impacts it. It's very hard to relate it to someone that hadn't studied it. I wish it was just a straight per capita distribution. That would be just so much simpler, but it's not. I mean, if you think we should let sleeping dogs lie, Mr. Foy, I respect your opinion. You've had a lot of, interface with the, powers that be, just as I have.
Well, it's
And,
my opinion, and I'm happy to share it with you guys, but I'm in no way, shape, or form am I encouraging you, and I'm trying to sway your vote one way or the other. I want to be careful not to do that. If you guys feel strongly about the matter, I think we need to vote. I don't, don't let my opinion on the matter deter what you think is best for this town.
Well, we have spent a lot of money on a lobbyist. We've spent staff time and resources on this. We've paid Mr. Winfrey to be involved with this, pursuit of getting 305 passed, and I would be reluctant to jeopardize it if any council member thinks that might be a possibility. And I'm very conscious that Mr. Tillman faces a majority of board members that are not friendly to possibly not friendly to any budget request we would make.
Well,
based on
that's another
history.
thing. I didn't say it, but I like winning, and I don't think we'll win on this one, but I could be wrong. So the majority of votes wins, but this vote, but
When it comes down to the influence, I think that speaks again to what Tim said as our form of government. Yeah, we are here each to influence the other as best we can, to sway each other as best we can, to come to some consensus. And I'm inclined to go with you, Derek, right now. I am thinking this is not the thing to do at this point in time. To your point, we have some other funds. I think my real concern, if we choose to do it, the damage that's done in the parking lot, that can be addressed with these additional funds. So I'm going to back off.
Well, it's a bigger pie to get $400,000 a year versus getting $100,000 this year from Guilford County and have them renew their efforts to defeat North Carolina House Bill 305. So that's a
Well, I'll
pretty,
tell you,
I mean,
another way
my
to-
focus is on one thing right now.
I'll tell you another
just
way
said
to 305.
Yeah, that's it.
Another way to look at this too is, are these items that we gotta have? We sit here and busted it, well, we, we're getting pretty strong, on the commissioners about, raising taxes and everything, and, I mean, is this something that we don't have the money to do? Please let me finish.
I didn't mean, I'm scared I'd lose my thought, but
Well, I'm losing mine now.
it's not on purpose.
Do we want a utility building, or do we need a utility building? Do we, these things would be nice to have, but, you're talking about tight budgets and things like that. You can't go a little bit longer. Like I say, we've got a budget surplus. I don't like asking Guilford County for money. I mean, I know that we've paid money into it and everything, but, we're financially conservative, and we do a pretty good job. And I hate to sit here not like we're begging them or something. I'm just concerned about getting what actually comes that our citizens are paying in.
Amen.
And getting that back to use that for the needs that we have. So that's the way I feel about it. And I do appreciate you guys looking at the stuff and
Absolutely.
all that, but by no means, and hopefully
And I still
we'll
think,
get our money and get to do all of it.
well, there's absolutely a path. I'm over here crunching the numbers and looking at the budget surplus from last year, glancing at the numbers. I think we'll have another budget surplus this year, fully expect that. And then I look at the remainder of the ARPA funds and, and I look at the projects that we have on hand, obviously a lot of it's to address deferred maintenance. And so it's not that we have to do these tomorrow, but I think all you guys should feel, really proud of the accomplishments that we, that we do have the money without,
Going hat in hand.
because we are very careful with every dollar that we spend here. And, you can only kick the needed maintenance down the road for so long before it catches up with you. And if we haven't resurfaced these bathroom floors, since construction, that's 15 years. So, I think we got a great, I really like the fact that, we're using somebody that Oak Ridge used. You guys have seen it. Thank you. I like the fact that there's a 15-year warranty on that. And, yeah, I mean, the biggest nut to crack there is the $50,000 for the parking lot. And I realize that we still need to do some evaluation of the drainage, but, I don't think Guilford County should dictate us doing these or not doing these. If these need to be done, let the town of Stokesdale take care of it, because we have the ability to do it because of the conservative governance we've had over the last 3 or 4 years. We're talking about a total of $80,000, and most of it's taken care of. No Guilford County.
Okay.
Well, to address Mr. Lanner's concern, we can par each one of these down or use slightly different methods or cheaper materials. As previously stated, this was an attempt by the mayor and I to get to a number that we could make a request to Guilford County so we didn't miss their budget cycle. Certainly there's nothing critical here. It's not a critical water system improvement or maintenance item, for example. And so, I can stop on all of it. I can sleep okay if we don't do any of it.
Yeah, and you're right, but credit to you for identifying things that, maybe some of us don't look at. And, I'm not it's not a strength of mine. I enjoy the basketball and pickleball court. I don't look at some of these things with the same eye that you do, but I understand that they are just as critical, if not more, than, something that's new and shiny. So there's a lot of value to the good work that you and Mike have put into this. And, whether we ask for money from the county or not, that doesn't take away anything from that, or it shouldn't take this off the hopper of moving forward if that is the right thing to do for the town.
Well, we certainly didn't do it for any recognition. I mean, it's just something we felt like needed to be done.
Give credit where credit's due, though.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. I would ask, Mr. Wagner, if you would, these items, starting at 10, if you'd make note of those, I'd like to have those separate as a reminder of the things that we have discussed. Can you do that for me? Okay.
In the minutes.
The building, I know that. Okay, well, the minute, let me take a look at the minutes before I ask for what I'm asking for. Let me do that. Okay, I will take a look at the minutes. But anyway, okay.
Robbie, could you stay late and knock that out tonight?
No.
Nah.
I'm not asking for that by any means.
No, it's good to keep a list of these.
I don't want it to drop in the cracks. I mean, I've already committed to run again for what it's worth. So I'd like to have this in the coming year if I happen to be here. And if not, I'd like for it to be here for whoever succeeds us. Without any further discussion, we're going to open the floor again for public comments. Would anyone like to speak? If you would, please limit it to 3 minutes. Do I have anyone that would like to speak? We've heard from Mr. Queen. Michael, do you want to speak? Michael, if you would just identify yourself.
Michael Logan, 5202 Guilford County,
Welcome, Mike.
Rambling Road. Couple things here. One is District Representative for Stokesdale Precinct. I would like to invite the Republicans out to our Lincoln Reagan dinner. It is coming up on May 28th. Go to the Guilford County GOP website and sign up. We are looking for as many people as possible. Another thing I'd like to discuss is pickleball. As everybody knows, my wife is all into pickleball. My life as a husband is controlled by my wife and her pickleball. And if most people know, she did have a health situation within the last year, and they're now doing a fundraiser for the Thrivers Group. And if most people don't know, my wife had breast cancer, and we went through the treatments last year. And there was a group that came in, supported and assisted people that were going through the treatments and the families that are going through the treatments. They're doing a fundraiser on Saturday, May 17th. It's called the Thrivers Cup. Now, it will be in Greensboro. Now, if y'all will expand your pickleball courts out there, I will promise you she can get you a tournament out here. But I will say, on y'all's pickleball courts, her doctor, Dr. Godina, said that he came out here. We told him in one of the sessions that y'all had some pickleball courts, and he lives over in Henson Farms. And he says, I'm gonna go try them out. And he says, you know what? I like playing out there better than I do out at Burr Mill. So I will say your pickleball courts have been highly rated. And if anybody's interested in either the Lincoln Reagan dinner, please reach out to me. Or in the pickleball tournament, please reach out to me.
What is the location of the Lincoln Reagan dinner?
It will be at the Corey Center. If you will go to the guilford.nc.gop website,
Okay.
you can get all the information on signing up for that. Tickets are pretty cheap, $125. Now, you have to understand it is a fundraiser. And that money is used for electing officials within Guilford County. And I'm gonna say, I watched the video on House Bill 305. And citizens of Stokesdale should go back and watch that video of House Bill 305 and the discussion. And the discussion and the comments that were made by two Democrat candidates, or not candidates, but representatives within Guilford County. One was Amos Quick and the other one was Pricey Harrison. I think the accusation of Stokesdale feeding at the trough without putting in, I'm pretty sure I stopped on the way over here, got some gas, and I think I paid tax, which means people in Stokesdale are paying taxes, they're not getting their funds, and they're not getting their money. Another comment was made about the amount of money that you would be receiving compared to what your budget is. Well, one of the reasons your budget's so small is because you're not getting your share of the money. So it's really kind of hard to say, well, you're getting this big lump sum of money that others are not getting and being denied. It really appears to me that there are other places that are feeding at the trough that y'all are filling up.
They're feeding on our trough.
So,
Exactly what's going on.
Thank you, Michael.
all right, thank y'all. Thank y'all for what y'all do.
Thank you, bud.
All right, council comments?
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Queen, Mike, do you want to speak again? Did you want to speak again? Well, you can. I mean, we got two times for everybody, so I don't know why.
Tell us what you would do if you were the sheriff, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be different than anything that you have experienced in law enforcement before. And the main reason is that we've been chasing our tails for decades and decades throughout the United States. We keep playing the same game over and over and over, and where are we today? We're behind. So we've got to do something different. And because of my experience, because of my education and what I've seen, I can make that difference here. I can bring safety and security to this county like we haven't had before. And the way that I intend to do that is first of all, I'll surround myself with the most competent, most professional, experienced people that I can put in that office in Greensboro. They'll run that office. I'll be out here with you. I'll be with our community leaders. I'll be with our civic leaders, and we will all work together. And we're not doing that. You know, it's the same thing over and over. Like I said, stuff happens, and the sheriff goes out or the police go out, they answer the calls, they write up the reports, they turn it over to the detective division, and nothing happens. Sometimes it does, but that's what we've been doing decade after decade after decade, and you know we're not getting safer. You know that your communities are not more secure. What I'll do is I'll bring us together, all of our communities together. If you want your community, you want your families to be more safe, then it takes all of us. We have resources out there that we haven't touched. Greensboro, Guilford County has got University of High Point, they got A&T, they got UNCG, they got programs there, psychology and sociology programs there that we could utilize in that sheriff's office, but nobody thinks about it. Nobody reaches out and tries to do it. Well, I see it. My vision is to bring all of our resources together, to include you. What do you need? The sheriff's department been out here and asked you, what do you need? Have they done that? Has the sheriff been out here and asked you that? What's going to make your community safer, more secure? Well, I'm going to be out there in the communities. If you're looking for somebody that's going to micromanage that sheriff's office, that's not me. That's not what the sheriff should be doing. If things are less secure because of the legislators down in Raleigh making rules, regulations, or laws that are making your life less secure, less safe, I'm going to be down there in Raleigh. If the DA's office down in Greensboro are making rules, regulations, and their policies that are making your communities less safe, I'm going to be in that office. I'm going to be in those offices that'll make a difference, not chasing my tail like we've been doing for decade after decade after decade. That sheriff needs to be in those places that can actually make a difference, and we're not doing that. That's how I'll be different. I'll turn that sheriff's office over to professionals that can run every division there, and I'll be out here with you. And together, we'll make life safer, more secure. That's the difference between Billy Queen and whoever else that might be running. It's going to be the same antiquated, same old programs that you've seen decade after decade after decade if somebody else gets in. Now, I know that filling the shoes of our current sheriff is going to be tough, but I have the experience from working from one end of this country to the other, from working in Washington, D.C., and watching what's going on there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what, it's the same everywhere you go. And I've asked myself, what can we do to really make a difference? If you're not involved with me, it's not going to make a difference. You might have faster cars, prettier cars, better radio equipment, sending people off to training, and you're going to get the same old thing. We got to do something different. My vision is we bring the community together, and I'll be in those offices with the presidents of the University at High Point, with North Carolina A&T, with Greensboro, and I'm going to say, you got these programs, you can help us. You got psychology, PhD programs, you got doctors that understand the human mind. And believe me, we got a jail full of people that we need to understand the human mind. But we don't use those people to go down there and say, okay, interview these people in jail. You know, you can set it up for your programs at your universities and tell me what's going on. Before I release these people back into the public out here, tell me what they're about. Tell me what they're going to do. They have the ability to do that. We don't use those resources. We just let them go. And the DA, we have a DA right now. It's a let them go DA. Go back out in the streets and prey on the good people of Guilford County. That sheriff needs to be over there tap dancing on her desk. You're making our community less safe. You're making our community less secure. Believe me, nobody else that's going to be running for sheriff is going to be thinking like that. That's going to be the difference between Billy Queen and whoever else is running out there.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sounds good. Sounds good. I guess we could give you the whole night, couldn't we? Congratulations and good luck with it. Thank you very much. Sounds like you got the right idea as far as I'm concerned. Council comments, Mr. Foy?
Yes, sir. I wanted to wish a happy anniversary to the best person I know and love of my life, Miss Rachel Foy. Thank you for putting up with me for 17 years now. Also, happy anniversary to Jimmy and Karen, you guys. And then lastly, just happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and thank everybody for what you do. Kim, congratulations on the budget. It was great work. And Chuck, thank you it's been quite a busy month for you. Enjoyed what we've done together the last month, as well as all these council members, and great group I'm up here with. Just can't say enough good things about these guys every time I'm up here. So thank you to all the citizens for being here, and y'all have a great week.
Mr. Landrith?
Well, Derek, thanks for your congratulations, and congratulations on all the years there. That's getting
Starting to add
impressive
up.
for you.
Very, very fortunate.
Yeah, and thanks for everybody that's here. Mr. Queen, thank you for coming. Michael, T, everybody, just appreciate you being here. Appreciate Mr. Tillman being here. It was nice of him to come and be on the hot seat. I hope he helps us out maybe with this sales tax distribution. Staff, of course. And council members, thank you. And our great attorney.
Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a little list I've made. I'll try to run through this real quick. Sometimes I wonder if anybody cares what I think. But I certainly am willing at any time to defer any of these park maintenance items to the Park Improvement Committee if they can better serve those. If I stepped on anybody's toes, I apologize. It's just mainly trying to get some numbers available to council if we wanted to make a request to Guilford County. I normally prefer to move a little slower with the town's business and try to get it right the first time. It's hard enough. I certainly have plenty of things to do with my own private business. Don't even need to be here as far as that goes. The concession space down here that has become important to me. I look out there, the parking lot fills up in the afternoon, adults, kids, we have a lot of people there. The previous council contracted and had it built, and to this day, 2025, it has not been used for the first time. And so I don't care what the solution is for storage, but I would just have council know that I don't have the authority to go down there and sort it all out, throw some of it away, move it, go out and buy a storage, a tarp to put it in. I have a $250 spending authority, and if nothing else, there's an empty corner back there where the table's at. We can stack that stuff up there, and I'll buy a painter's cloth and put over it until we can do better. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we need to find a solution to this. This has been festering with us too long, folks. I don't really care what the solution is, but I would just like for us to come up with one. And the time to do that is before Mr. Winfrey comes back with some usable contract that we can sign with Stokesdale Parks and Rec. So I don't have the answer for it, but we need to find one. There's 5 of us, and at least 4 of y'all are smart enough to find a solution. I too would like to express my gratitude for all the veterans that have died serving this country. That's what Memorial Day is about. Sometimes we forget about it, just think of it in terms of we're off work and we're going to the beach or what have you, and we forget to for the reason for the holiday in the first place. And I'd like to wish everybody safe travels on the road. That tends to be a heavy travel day. I particularly like to thank Mr. Tillman for taking time to come out, and our county commissioner. And Mr. Hunter drove a pretty good distance to be here to answer questions for us about our turf grass. And thank you to everybody that's still here. I see we have 5 heads, including Billy Queen. I appreciate him coming. I'd like to express Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And please, folks, don't do it for me. Do it for the citizens in Stokesdale. Pray that we get North Carolina House Bill 305 passed. Thank you all.
Thank you all. It's all been said as far as I can tell. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure working with Mr. Jones and trying to put some of these numbers together for the park that we're trying to maintain, as well as the pavement out here. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and hopefully we can come to some decision on it at some point in the near future. That's it for me. Do I have a motion to?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Yep.
Got a second? Mr. Foy?
Aye.
Mr. Landrith? Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And I am aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor? Certainly.
Michael, where's that tape? Where'd you watch that, is that on? On what?
Thank you, brother. Okay, I knew I saw it on the web, I saw it on Facebook, and I couldn't find it. That's what I was looking for.
It's on our website?
Oh, is that, oh, okay, but I swear I saw this on the Facebook, did I not? Okay,
Can you,
Are these
can
mine
you
or
get
these-
it to me?
Yeah,
Yeah, get it to
you
me.
sure?
I will.
That right there ticks me off.